deep shots. How much more does that open up your playbook and allow you to do different things if those are going well?
Well, very much so. I mean, it's like, when we went back to the throw that Ethan caught, it was a great throw and a great catch. Over the top, that's a harder catch than a lot of people realize. But we ran that earlier in the game, and, that was the one that Ethan did drop. And, you have confidence in players, and then you have confidence in plays, and, that helped open up our offense.
Does that give you confidence
sure.
too?
Yeah, Heck yeah. I mean, it's like playing John Madden, right? Or whatever that's called. I don't play it, but when you're scoring and you're hitting things and making plays like that, sure.
Were there ever times last year where you got frustrated that you didn't complete as many deep balls that you said, well, here's maybe a smaller package that I had to work with than what we could work with?
Well, I just think that to answer your question. You're going to stay with things that continue to work or that are open. You're going to come back to those. And, I just think we've improved our deep ball game so much. And we've talked about that. We've talked to you guys about that, about how we have improved that. And that showed up, in this last ball game.
The play to Josh Malone, him coming out of the backfield in the motion, had you run that earlier this year? You got a lot of praise for that from Gary Danielson during the broadcast.
We ran it earlier. I'm not going to take the credit. I'm going to give that to all of our coaches, our offensive coaches. We set up the entire game plan. But we had run it earlier, but we didn't do it with him in the backfield. And so, we did that for a particular reason in that game. But we had run that play, but just not out of him in the backfield.
So was that kind of one of those card up the sleeve? They got a right situation, right formation. You knew that reach for it at the right time.
Well,
kind of deal?
You're always looking for matchups, and where does Josh Malone play a lot? He plays on the outside. Well, that put him on the inside. So that was something that we wanted to get matchup-wise, and we were able to get.
Mike, what does it feel like when you're hot like that as a play caller? Is it one of those deals where you look at your play sheet and you think, I've got 10 or 12 things I can go to here? Did it feel like that on Saturday?
No, I just felt like in that game we were going to have to make plays. It's hard in football to go 3 yards, 4 yards, 3 yards, 5 yards. It's hard to do that against great teams, great defenses. And I felt like we were going to have to go to that no matter what. And that game obviously dictated that. But I knew in that game we were going to have to make plays like that. We talked to our players about that.
What do you see out of Georgia defensively as you move forward? How different are they? And you've seen a lot of stuff through the first 5 games.
Yeah.
How different are they?
Well, they're more like, this all comes, I think, from Coach Saban. All these guys that have worked under him and et cetera. And we get into this conference now, you're going to have a lot of that influence with a lot of these defenses. And so you see, a lot of the same things that you see, from his package. And Georgia ran a lot of this stuff last year, and that defensive coordinator is now with Coach Saban. So you see a lot of carryover throughout this conference with that, with his background.
Mike, on the wheel route score to Jalen,
yes.
How much was it aided by the fact that Jalen so consistently pass blocks or run blocks for Alvin when he needs to, and also then by Dobbs' ability to sell the play action or the fake handoffs?
Well, if you go back to the first game before the game before the Florida game, the first play, remember, we gave the ball to Alvin, and Jalen went out on the perimeter and blocked. So, we had shown that to the field. Well, in this game, we ran the exact same play, but we ran it into the boundary, and Jalen went and blocked the guy. And so that was, kind of set up by the previous game as well as this game. We had shown that earlier, and so it's kind of a setup that way.
How much does your patience or your perceived patience help in those play calling situations when early in the game you're either trying to set something up later in the game, or that early in the game those 2 and 3 yard runs by Jalen are still doling out punishment on the guys tackling?
Well, I think that a lot of times maybe the players don't understand the setup of maybe a play here and there, things like that. But as coaches, we talk about that all the time. Like right now, we have a plan going into this game what we're going to do, and so we have to continue to run the football. I mean, you can't just you got to wear down the defense, and we got to go fast, play fast that way. But again, it's you got to give all the credit to the players. I mean, our players did a great job of coming out in the second half and making plays. I mean, the one Jawan Jennings made was unbelievable catch, the one that he went over the top of the guy and made. So you got to give, all the credit to our players and what they did in that second half.
Mike, you mentioned the